Before the break, we were talking about the legal implications for Trump and his allies if the January 6th committee issues criminal referrals to the DOJ. But now let's discuss some of the potential political fallout. For months, members of the 1-6 committee have been split over whether to send the referrals in the first place, even though they concluded they have enough evidence to do so, as laid out in their several public hearings. The move would be largely symbolic. So why the hesitation? Some worry it could put political pressure on the DOJ as it investigates Trump's actions surrounding the election, or maybe set a precedent for the majority party to issue referrals against its political enemies. So, are the risks worth it? Here to help me answer that question and more is our Saturday morning political panel, former Republican and political strategist Ashley Pratt Oates. She's also an NBC Think contributor, and Democratic strategist and former aide in the Obama White House Office of Urban Affairs, Elena Beverly. Elena, good morning to you as well as to Ashley. It's so nice to have both of you back to the show. Elena, I'd love to start with you. Why should the possible political blowback from referrals against Trump even be a part of the calculus here? I mean, a federal judge has already determined that Trump and others conspired to defraud the United States.
Given all the effort that has gone into the January 6th committee, the members are trying to ensure that the presentation of the information that they give has the greatest level of impact. So I don't think they're as concerned about the politicization of the report at this point. They just want to make sure it has the best and most important impact. And that impact is both public education, making the historical record, making sure that they are presenting where there has been criminality in their mind from the amassing of their evidence, and also flagging it for the Department of Justice. But of course, the determination about whether or not to prosecute ultimately comes down to the Department of Justice. This is not, the J6 committee does not have the authority to prosecute, and we're going to see Jack Smith go forward with this independent investigation and ultimately come to whatever conclusion the DOJ determines with regard to criminality. The J6 committee wants to make sure that they are placing their findings in the best light to make sure that the public knows what went down with January 6th.
You know, Ashley, putting aside the report itself, the work and the mission of the 1-6 committee, on the flip side of the argument, though, would a move like these referrals, including a criminal referral for Donald Trump, just kind of play right into Republicans' hands?
You would think, but I think on the flip side of that too, Katie, to spin it back around, it should be a question of whether or not Trump is fit to run for office a third time, given that there could be potential criminal referrals here for the actions of January 6th. And to the points that were all just made, you know, the whole point of this committee was to get to the bottom of what happened. It should never have become this political toxic thing that it's become. You know, House Republicans now want to investigate the investigation. Where does it end? When do we actually get to the bottom of what happened with the incitement, with those who stormed the Capitol? And we're starting to see some of these indictments, you know, come down at a federal level or at the D.C. levels and the different courts for people who attended and stormed the Capitol. But where is the accountability for the political leaders who were texting each other that day? Donald Trump's role at the rally he held where this was all encouraged. It begins to become a systemic problem in the Republican Party when they encourage actions of violence and when they cast doubt on Congress and the government institutions. This is what happens. So if there is no accountability moving forward, I do worry about investigations and, again, the political toxicity of them, no matter who's investigating, Republicans or Democrats. But to get to the truth of what happened and to restore trust in our democracy, that's exactly what needs to happen. So I'm hoping criminal referrals happen. I hope the Republicans at least decide to say, hey, Donald Trump, take a back seat. You can no longer run because of this.
Ooh, and to that point, Elena, Trump's so-called major announcement turned out to be $99 digital trading cards of himself. Even diehard Trump allies thought it was cringy. Listen to Steve Bannon and Michael Flynn's reactions.
They're called Trump digital trading cards. These cards feature some of the really incredible...
Okay, I got it. I can't watch it again. Make it stop.
I would, whoever advised him on that, I'd fire him immediately.
Even an insurrectionist who pleaded guilty to riot charges on 1-6 tweeted the following: "I cannot believe I'm going to jail for an NFT salesman. Elena, is Trump trolling himself? I feel like it is. It's like the biggest joke. Is Trump trolling himself as well as his 2024 run?
Well, he's certainly stepping on his own messaging. I mean, his campaign was supposed to come out with a policy announcement on the same day. I take a few things from the NFT cards. First, the website for the cards says that none of the proceeds that are raised from this is going to go toward his campaign. But you know, the grifter in chief raised something like $250 million for a false election defense fund. So he has a huge host of criminal problems that he could use this as his defense for, but he will likely, I imagine, that this money is also going to in some way go toward his campaign. And then you see all of his allies backing away. This was one step too far after a month of party fouls, political fouls, having dinner with a Nazi and an anti-Semite, saying that the Constitution should be struck in order for him to be reseated as president. I think the Republican Party is starting to see Donald Trump, even his closest allies, as the albatross around their neck. So he may have thought that it was a good business decision, but I think he's alienating his closest supporters.
The fact that it took NFT cards for some people to say I'm done with him is just really
unbelievable.
Head blowing. Ashley, I'd like to wrap up with you. You know, the sales from these trading cards, it's really confusing. Even Elena mentions it, but reportedly it's going straight to Donald Trump rather than his 2024 campaign. Frankly, Elena, it doesn't mean he wouldn't use the money. But anyway, Ashley, doesn't the fact that the money goes directly to Donald Trump just underscore just how little he really cares about his campaign, and that, frankly, it's just more about lining his own pockets? Like, let the grift go on.
He's a con artist. I mean, this has been the gig all along, and he has pulled the wool over all of his supporters' eyes who believe that he was the guy who represented the little guy. And that was true when it came to his campaign donations. They were all pretty much small dollar donors. So he's gravitating toward that base of folks to play them yet again, knowing that his campaign is flailing. So I think at this point, it's really a business thing. He's an entertainer. He's a con artist. That's his whole play here. And was anybody really all that surprised? But Katie, to your point, it took this to have Republicans start distancing themselves from him. Not the racist rhetoric, not the gender. Gosh, I mean, man, if you go back to the 2016 campaign, the comments that were made about women then, I mean, it took NFT cards to get us here. But alas, this is the world of Donald Trump and the party of Donald Trump, and hopefully now they're all regretting that decision.
I mean, I agree. I'm laughing because it's so absurd. I had Michael Cohen on my Peacock show yesterday, and I was trying to hawk him 2 of Katie PHANG NFT cards, one of me eating ice cream and one of me on roller skates, and I was willing to throw in Ginsu knives, and Michael was intrigued, but I'm not quite sure if I've sold them yet. But Ashley and Elena, thank you both for joining me for the Saturday Morning Power political panel on the show. It's always so good to see you, ladies, and happy holidays to both of you.
Thanks, Katie.
And a quick programming note. Monday at noon Eastern, join MSNBC for special coverage of the final January 6th committee meeting led by Katie Tur, Andrea Mitchell, and Hallie Jackson. Then stick with MSNBC for a 2-hour recap special beginning at 8 p.m. Eastern, featuring expert analysis from Alex Wagner, Rachel Maddow, Joy Reid, and Ari Melber. Watch the January 6 hearings, The House Investigates, Monday on MSNBC.